V poriadku, OK.
Hare Krishna.
Vítajte.
Happy to see you all.
Som rád, že vás všetkých znovu vidím.
It really is very nice.
A naozaj je to veľmi dobré, že sa každý týždeň môžeme stretávať. Rýchlo si pozerám cez obrazovku, aby som videl, kto všetko tu je. Potom sa vrátim.
Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sujivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sudisakam Vitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Haripriya Vanchakalpatarvicha Kripa Sindhubhya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaisnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in our last session,
Takže pri našom poslednom stretnutí som trošku rozprával o čítaní Šrimad Bhagavatamu. Ako ten, kto pravidelne číta Bhagavatam, tak bude oboznámený s rôznymi knihami, ktoré sú v Bhagavatame citované. Častokrát sa cituje nejaká kniha a keď čítaš výklady Šrimad Bhagavatamu, tak jedna z kníh, ktorá často vychádza, je Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya. Takže prirodzene som sa začal zaujímať, čo je to za knihu. Podarilo sa mi nájsť elektronickú kópiu. Preklad bol spravený žiakom Šilu Bhaktisiddhantu v 30 rokoch 20. storočia. 19. Tak som si zabezpečil kópiu toho a čítal som Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya.
The Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya is part
v Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya je časť Naradiya Purany. Naradiya Purana má veľké množstvo veršov a malá časť toho, 2500 veršov je Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya. Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya nám okrem všeobecných pokynov dáva viac o zábavách Prahlada Maharaja a Hiranyakashipuva a tiež o zábavách Dhruvu. Takže som si povedal, budem s tým trošku pokračovať. že trošku si prečítame.
Once again,
Znova,
one day,
jedného dňa,
the Asura king Hiranyakasipu
azurský král Hiranyakasipu zavolal Prahlada a býval v obydlí svojich učiteľov a mal viacej slobody kultivovať oddanosť a učiť sa o rôznych vetvách filozofie a bol plne nabitý oddanosťou. Prišiel a potom, čo vzdal poklony a pri chodidlách svojho otca, tak stál pri ňom, keď král povedal:
The lesson that you had from your preceptors, how can it go to waste?
A tie lekcie, ktoré si získal, ako sa to môže zničiť, aj keď oheň sa pod polom schová, takisto tvoja inteligencia bola zahmlená, ale teraz vďaka učiteľom tvoja inteligencia veľmi žiari, drahý drahokam Asurov. Je dobre vidieť, že nevedomosť, ktorá bola prítomná, keď si bol chlapec, tak je preč a teraz žiariš ako slnko na oblohe. Počas môjho, keď som bol chlapec, tak tí brahmani ma nesprávne viedli a keď som vyrastal, tak som pochopil, že je to hlúpe a tak som sa vybavil vhodným učením. Teraz chápem, pochopil som tvoje zodpovednosti a preto ti chcem dať viac zodpovedností v diplomatických aférach, záležitostiach. Môj miláčik a tvoji učitelia tiež hovorili veľmi vysoko o tebe. Videli tvoju zručnosť, tvoje učenie v niti šastrách, v etike a politike. Ty si tak učený, že hĺbka tvojho učenia je naozaj zaujímavé, takže cez oči vidíš, ako pokoriť svojho nepriateľa, aj cez uši počuješ tie posolstvá a tie zranenia z vojny, to sú ako drahokamy. Keď počul všetky tieto slova od svojho otca, tak bez strachu, ale jemne prehovoril: O kráľ, bez pochyby, tieto zlaté slova potešia, ale ty si nepovedal ani slovo na oslovu najvyššieho pána Višnua. Vajšnavovia nedávajú žiadnu hodnotu slovám, ktoré sú bez oslovy Višnua. Žiadny debut, žiadne pocty. Nemám pochyby, že sa musíme naučiť lekcie, aby sme boli zruční, ale tieto lekcie, ktoré ukazujú slávu Sri Hariho, being affected by the illusory energy of the material world are worthy to listen. Takže tie slova, ktoré sú iluzórnej energie, tie sú hodné počúvania. Tie reči, ktoré oslavujú Sri Hariho, ktoré dávajú najvyššie požehnanie tým, ktorí počúvajú, či už sú dokonale v lingvistickom štýle alebo nie, tak múdri ich veľmi privítajú a s napätou pozornosťou ich počúvajú. Aké skutočné dobro, k čomu je to študovať takúto literatúru, ktorá nás robí taký, že vyvíjame odpor k Bohu, ktoré nás učia o etike a politike, to nám spôsobuje len viacej zapletenia v svetskom spôsobe života. Ľudia, ktorí už majú sklon užívať si dočasné potešenia tohto sveta, tak my im, keď im len pridáme palivo do ohňa ich sklonu užívať si, potom ich hodíme do hlbokého oceána svetskosti,
ultimately help him to look for attaining spiritual good in life. Because distressed persons,
Pretože osoby, ktoré trpia jedného dňa, môžu začať túžiť po milosti Pána, potom môj drahý otec, prosím ťa, ty netráv veľa času v politike a užívaní si. Niekto, kto je závislý na drogách, takže túto Prahlada dáva vážnu lekciu svojmu otcovi. On hovorí svojmu otcovi, že diskusia o svetských témach je iba strata času a preto učenosť o politike a takýchto veciach je len ďalšie, že nás to odvádza a ponára nás to hlbšie do materiálneho života. Hovorí, že skutočné diskusie by mali byť o duchovných témach. O najvyššom Pánovi. Takže takto hovorí Prahlad. Ako silní bojovníci si zoberú najlepšie zbranie, tak aj múdri používajú šastry, ktoré pretínajú púta a svetskému svetu, pretože skutočný poklad života sú duchovné praktiky. Tento vesmír patrí Pánovi Višnovi. Ako tu môže byť niečo iné, čo by viedlo k realizácii Boha? Keď je to, nič nemôže existovať bez Boha, či už je to cítiace alebo necítiace. Okrem toho, získať aby sme získali svetské bohatstvo, musíme ťažko pracovať a potom, keď to strátime, veľmi trpíme. Manželka, deti, božstvo, deti. A to nie sú trvalé hodnoty, pretože potom by malo zmysel po nich túžiť, keby boli trvalé hodnoty. If anybody finds any importance in possessing them, yet no ethical life will not lead to achieve any everlasting good. So instead of hankering after, takže namiesto toho, aby sme túžili po nich, mali by sme radšej vykonávať oddanú službu Šri Narayanovi. Takže Prahlad stále ustanovuje, že oddaná služba je veľmi dôležitá. Hiranyakashipu odpovedá úplne opačným spôsobom a on hovorí, vieš, Prahlad, ty si vyvinul vlastnosti brahmanov a my na brahmanov nehľadíme ako nejak, že by sme ich brali ako nejakých hodnotných, pretože ty si stratil silu kvôli tomuto. Pretože brahmani, pretože oni len prijímajú pokornú pozíciu a za všetkým sa obracajú k Bohu. Namiesto toho, že by si akúkoľvek silu budovali a moc. Zatiaľ, čo ťa učím ja, môj syn, je, že aby si bol niekto v tomto svete. Aby si mal nejakú silu a nejakú moc vlastnú. Ty si sa zrodil v rodine, ktorá je veľmi aristokratická. Kráľovská rodina. Mocný Asura, ty máš silu. Prirodzene. Ale nejako kvôli tejto filozofie, ktorá ťa pokazila, ty si zanedbal túto prirodzenú silu v tebe a stal si sa žobrákom. A on tých brahmanov nazýva zvieratá a dôvod je preto, že oni len žobrú. Oni nedobývajú vďaka vlastnej sily, takže sú slabí.
So it is interesting
To je zaujímavé.
how the demoniac mentality is very much centered
Démonská
around
mentalita je veľmi
accumulating power and strength and wealth and
sa sústredí okolo zhromažďovania síly, bohatstva, kontroly a podriadiť si druhých
and then learning how to subdue.
a potom vidieť svojich nepriateľov a naučiť sa, ako ich pokoriť.
Whereas if you compare that
Zatiaľ, čo keď to porovnáš s Maharažom Judištírom, Maharaž Judištír, on je známy ako Ajata Satru. Ajata Satru znamená ten, kto nemá žiadnych nepriateľov. Nemal nepriateľov. Nemal nepriateľov. To je veľmi vznešené. To neznamená, že nemôže byť niekto, kto by bol nepriateľský voči nám, ako Maharač Judištír, jeden z 5 pándavov. Oni boli cieľom, obzvlášť Duryodhánu a Karnu, ktorí obidvaja boli dosť nepriateľskí voči nim, ktorí ich prenasledovali rôznymi spôsobmi. Takže ako to je, že Judištír, ten najstarší brat, nemal žiadnych nepriateľov. To znamená, že on vôbec nemal žiadny ako taký pocit, že niekto by bol jeho nepriateľom. Že každý je nejakým spôsobom večným služobníkom najvyššieho pána a niektorí to vedia a iní nie. To je jediný rozdiel, takže tí, čo to nevedia, keďže majú zmetenú mysel, tak nie vždy sa správajú vhodne. Keď zabudáme na Krišnu a na najvyššieho pána, ako najvyšší pán je vlastník, tak potom budeme túžiť si sám pre seba nárokovať na nejaké vlastníctvo a potom čím viac vlastníctva sa snažíme si nárokovať v tomto svete, tým viac budeme mať superov a potom oni budú na tom zozname našich nepriateľov a takto sa zrodia nepriatelia. Takže Maharaž Judištír je Ajata Satru.
Well, I find that things like that
Už takéto veci
we read
čítame
in the
Bhagavatame.
And
a áno,
for us,
pre nás,
we didn't grow up like that.
My sme takto nevyrastli.
If I think back, well,
keď sa zamyslím, ako to bolo v minulosti, tak iste mal som nejakých chlapcov v triede, ktorí neboli moji priatelia. Prišiel jeden nový chlapec z Južnej Afriky, kde som neskôr strávil toľko čas, takže jeden chlapec z Južnej Afriky prišiel do našej školy a chlapci zápasia to, čo chlapci robievajú, takže ja som zápasil.
And he became, he didn't get it. He was sort of thinking that I was attacking him for real.
On to nepochopil, on si myslel, že som naozaj, že na ňo útočím, tak on na mňa zaútočil a udrel ma do nosa a preto to mám na jednu stranu. On mi rozbil nos. Takže bod bol v tom. Potom sme už neboli priatelia. Stále si pamätám jeho meno. Takže ja vždycky čakám na to, že ho stretnem. Ty si John Stenger a rád ťa spoznávam.
So yeah.
Takže áno.
we didn't grow up with this concept
My sme nevyrástli s týmto poňatím,
that there are no enemies in this world.
že v tomto svete neexistujú nepriatelia.
So what we're learning in Srimad Bhagavatam
Takže čo sa učíme v Srimad Bhagavatame, je niečo veľmi vznešené, keď vidíme, že Judištyra nevidel nepriateľov.
It's not so easy.
Nie je to také ľahké intuitívne sa s tým stotožniť. A vyžaduje to veľa kultivácie.
So the Bhagavatam is presenting us with many values and principles.
Bhagavatam nám dáva veľa hodnôt a princípov, ktoré sú tam pre nás, aby sme ich kultivovali. Pozeráme na tieto osobnosti ako na nejaké idóly a snažíme sa uvidieť, koľko dokážeme zaviesť a koľko takej podobnej nálady v našom živote. To je to, čo vidíme v Srimad Bhagavatame. Vidíme popisy o Krišnovi a vidíme popisy o Krišnových oddaných. A tieto popisy o Krišnových oddaných, títo oddaní sú idoly pre nás. Sú také vzory. Takže my zakotvíme náš prístup a správanie podľa týchto vzorov. A takto získame určité poňatie o tom, ako sa umiestniť v svete. Keď sa pozrieme na Prahlada, čítali sme o Prahladovi, on nemal strach. A hoci jeho otec ho nazýval, že je bez sily, tak neskôr vidíme, že Prahlad nie je tak bez sily, bezmocný. Pretože v jednom bode otec bol tak rozhnevaný, že tento chlapec, on tak trvá na tom, že chce kázať o Krišnovi, že ho to veľmi, veľmi, veľmi rozhneval.
Okay, we see a little bit.
Takže tieto slova Šri Prahlada boli nektárové. Ale ako preňho to bolo ako olej do vody, voda do oleja. A on bol plný hnevu. Ako sova nemôže zniesť slnko, tak hierania Kašipu nemohol zniesť ani tieto najvznešenejšie slova. V tomto hneve sa pozeral okolo a potom hromovým hlasom povedal svojim ľuďom: i hneď ho zabite. A pozriem sa na to, ako ho Hari ochráni. Nech celý svet vie, aké budú následky jeho oddanosti k Harimu, čo skoro jeho telo bude hostená pre supov. Takže hovorí, že pošlite ho do sídla smrti. Tí Asurovia, ktorí tam boli prítomní, i hneď zdvihli zbranie a začali útočiť na Prahlada. Ale Šri Prahlad, jeho to vôbec nerozrušilo. Že ho chceli mučiť. Šri Prahlad vstúpil do hlbokého rozjímania a žiadna zbraň sa nedokázala dotkať toho tela. Actually bathed Sri Prahlad with showering the nectar by touching every part of his body with his blissful lotus palm. že milosťou Najvyššieho Pána a telo Prahlada bolo silné ako hrom. A takto žiadna z tých zbraní sa ho nedokázala mu ubližiť. Takže vidíme v Bhagavatame, nevidíme popisy, ako Pán sa dotýka tela Prahlada. A v Bhagavatame je jednoducho povedané, že nebolo možné, aby tie zbranie prepichli Prahladové telo. Sú to malé veci, ale pekné. Prináša to Prahlada bližšie k nám. Ja som rozmýšľal nad tým tento týždeň, že z času na čas som čítal v tejto knihe. Privádza to Prahlada k nám bližšie. Prahlad je taký výnimočný oddaný. Pretože bez ohľadu na to, akej opozícii čelí, akékoľvek problémy sú v jeho živote, nič ho nemôže rozrušiť v jeho viere. Žiadny strach ho nedokáže opantať. On je pripravený prijať osud. Prijal útočisko Najvyššieho Pána. A teraz čokoľvek sa udeje, áno, v poriadku, to je Krišnova túžba. Že on je ten konečný vládca. Že nie je nič, čoho by sa mal báť, preto bol človek z Vajkunty bol oprostený od úzkosti. Veľmi náročné byť oprostený od úzkosti. Každý z nás niekedy raz za čas je z niečoho v úzkosti. Satsvarup Maharaj on má také spisovateľské cvičenia a on tam dosť sa zamýšľa nad životom. Takže písal o príčinách úzkosti, písal o v jednom bode napísal potkany. Potom, keď bol celý ten list ukončený, potom, čo spravil dlhý zoznam, tak na spodok napísal všetko. To bolo zaujímavé. Bol to taký vtipný list. Neviem, či všetko spôsobuje úzkosť. Ale možno v určitom zmysle áno, pretože chceme mať kontrolu nad vecami, chceme mať život pod kontrolou. A v Prahladovi táto tendencia, tento sklon je úplne, on absentuje, on vôbec nemá záujem snažiť sa dostať život pod kontrolu. Príjma útočisko u Krišnu. A tam príjma tú kontrolu v načúvaní, čentovaní a zvyšok, nech príde čokoľvek, príde, to už je jeho prístup. Aký úžasný prístup. Takže keby sme mohli prijať trošku z tohto prístupu, Prahlada nemôžeme imitovať, to nie je možné. Ale trošku z tohto prístupu nám pomôže obrovsky sa zbaviť veci a nechať pustiť veci, nechať ich tak, nech už je to čokoľvek.
to just carry on.
A jednoducho pokračovať v našej službe Krišnovi.
Yeah, that is very relevant.
To je veľmi relevantné.
We are definitely living at a time.
Teraz definitívne žijeme v dobe, kde sa deje veľa vecí, ktoré sú mimo našej kontroly. Zdá sa, že máme svoj osud menej pod kontrolou. Každý sa cíti obmedzený v svojej slobode. Nemôžeš robiť toto, tamto. Nemôžeš ísť sem ani tam. Ale na tom nezáleží. Že Krišna vedomie pokračuje ďalej. Krišna vedomie je vždy možné. Oddanú službu môžeme vykonávať z akéhokoľvek podmienenia v živote, dokonca aj keď sme úplne proste, že postihnutí, tak aspoň môžeme stále meditovať. V Austrálii máme oddaného, ktorý mal veľmi náročnú situáciu, ktorá mala veľmi náročnú situáciu, pretože ona mala nejakú chorobu, ktorá spôsobí zápal mozgu. A oni sa rozhodli, že spravia chirurgický zákrok, ale pritom išlo niečo zle a ona bola v takom štádiu lockdownu. Ja som tam chodil a bol tam ona, jej manžel a novonarodenie a babetko, oni boli veľmi nadšení, robili programy, bolo to veľmi pekné. Prita sa volá ona. A potom ochorela, potom táto operácia. A ona bola v štádiu lockdownu a v tej dobe bola v nemocnici. Ja som tam išiel. A ona tam sedela zmrznutá, nič sa nepohlo, ani jej viečka. Takže čo sa potom ukázalo, že ty si v takom štádiu lockdownu, že v tvojom tele si uväznená. A ona nič nemohla spraviť. Snažil som sa povedať niečo pekné, čo môže spraviť. Ty nevieš, či ťa počuje, alebo nie. Snaží sa povedať niečo najlepšie, čo ťa napadne. A potom s tou terapiou to bolo lepšie a mohla začať písať na iPad a vyšli určité slova. Stále nehovorí. Ale teraz vie aspoň písať na počítači.
And I got a message from him, very coherent and clear. But she kept her Krishna consciousness.
Ale ona si udržala svoje Krishna vedomie.
And she couldn't really chanting was also difficult even in the mind. Whatever it was, she was meditating.
Aj čintovanie bolo náročné, ona to robila aspoň v mysli a nech už to bolo čokoľvek, tak mohla meditovať. Ja mám pre ňu veľký rešpekt.
That she kept Krishna throughout that whole
že ona si udržala Krišnu za celú tú dobu a nestratila vieru. Že neexistuje Boh. Nie, ona si udržala svoju vieru. Ona to proste zvládla.
Yeah, this is maybe a very intense example, but
Toto je veľmi intenzívny zážitok, ale stalo sa to, ja som sa s tým stretol.
My immediate environment, yes, and it happened to someone that I was close to.
Stalo sa to niekomu, s kým som bol blízko spojený.
Yes, and a friend of hers who was also
a jej priateľka, alebo priateľ, jej priateľ, on odišiel, on povedal, nemôže existovať Boh, ako by sa takéto niečo mohlo stať, to je príliš. Nemôže byť Boh. Priateľ odišiel, ale ona zostala.
Anyway, after this intense passage which shows the intenser part of life, I don't want to.
Po tejto intenzívnej ceste ja si prajem, aby ja to najlepšie prajem a dúfam, že sa bude mať lepšie a môže sa za ňu modliť.
I'm here in Berlin, in Germany.
Ja som tu v Berlíne v Nemecku a zajtra budeme oslavovať Ratha Yatru.
But it will be a Ratha Yatra with masks.
Ale bude to Ratha Yatra s rúškami, mi povedali. Takže čo sa dá robiť?
Someone was here and said we can have faces on the mask.
Takže niekto povedal, že môžete si dať takých smajlikov, akože na tie rúška s rôznymi výrazmi tváre.
As they come. Yeah, and in this way we can use it also and tolerate it.
Takto
and of course it's not.
To môžeme teda spraviť a tolerovať, aj keď to nie je úplne čo chceme. Ale zároveň je to stále veľká milosť, že môžeme robiť Ratha Yatru, pretože Ratha Yatry sú vykonávané pre potešenie pána Jagannatha. Že milosť Jagannatha prechádza celým mestom. Keď niekto aktívne začne byť zapojený v rozdávaní milosti, tak získava viac prospechu, ako keď niekto je pasívne zapojený. Inými slovami, tí, ktorí ťahajú ten voz, získavajú viac milosti, než ľudia, ktorí len idú po ulici. Každý je ale dotknutý transcendentálnou milosťou. A každého to pozdvihne. Je to veľmi mocný festival. Je povedané, že kdokoľvek, kto vidí pána Jagannatha, tak je to koniec, začiatok konca jeho materiálnej existencie. Takže on alebo ona začal svoju cestu na duchovnej ceste. To samozrejme neznamená, že od toho bodu už budú pokračovať.
No, not like that. The Ratha Yatra will go
tá Ratha Yatra pôjde do ulic a miest, ktoré sa sústredia okolo materiálneho života. To znamená, že na moment oni sa pozdvihnú na duchovnú úroveň, kde v skutočnosti uvidia podobu pána. Takže to sa dotkne duša v podmienenom stave je spiaca. Takže tá duša nemôže si užiť materiálne telo, takže tá duša ide do nevedomého stavu a tá myseľ preberie funkcie duše a tá myseľ začne byť zapojená v myslení, cítení a chcení. Takže toto myslenie, cítenie a chcenie mysli je to, čo vedie náš život v materiálnom svete. A tá myseľ je vždy zaneprázdnená, že premýšľa. Samozrejme, pocity patria k duši. Takže keď aj niekto, kto nie je duchovne inklinovaný, je priamo konfrontovaný s Krišom, tak to v ňom niečo prebudí. Niečo na hlboko podvedomej úrovni. A v srdci sa prebúdza trošku pripútanosti, pretože vy sme boli v tomto materiálnom svete veľmi dlho. A hľadali sme šťastie. To je naša povaha hľadať šťastie, ale kde je šťastie? Áno, očividne existuje šťastie. Rôzne stupne šťastia. Ja som šťastný, keď svieti slnko, keď som na krásnom mieste, keď som s milými ľuďmi, keď je k dispozícii dobré jedlo. Toľko vecí ma robí šťastie, keď sú dobré, ale tá úroveň šťastia, to nie je všetko. Áno, ale to je veľmi krásne. Život je krásny. Pozri na tú krásu, na prírodu. Áno, ono je to nádherné. Ale potom to je... Prepáčte, mňa to vyrušilo, niekto dáva otázku. Keď si uchováte otázku na neskôr, tak určite vám dám príležitosť. Ma to vyrušilo. Že hľadáme v tomto svete šťastie. A to je naša prírodzenosť, že hľadáme šťastie. Som späť. Takže existuje šťastie v tomto svete, ale nie naplnenie. Preto stále potrebujeme niečo nové, novú inšpiráciu, nejaký nový zážitok. To nie je naplnenie. Ale keď prichádzame ku Krišnovi, tak to prebudza tú zdedenú túžbu po naplnení. Takže keď ľudia vidia pána Jagannatha, tak to prebudza určitú túžbu a potom skôr či neskôr znova spravia nejakú službu. Môže to byť prerušené, ale potom neskôr. A tak toto vzniká. A niekedy sa to môže roztiahnuť cez niekoľko životov, ale postupne tá služba začína byť hustejšia, až príde do bodu, keď si vedome to vyberieme a povieme, áno, ja chcem slúžiť Krišnovi. Potom áno, samozrejme stále prerušame našu službu, ale potom tiež postupne a začína byť viac a viac husté, keď naplňame každý moment službou. To je to, čo je popísané o životoch čistých oddaných. To je naša meditácia.
So for us, Ratha Yatra is an opportunity.
Takže pre nás Ratha Yatra je príležitosť vykonávať službu.
We are consciously rendering service.
A vedome vykonávame službu. Ja som počul, že je tu malý chrám tuto v Berlíne, ale čo som počul pre tých, čo tam boli,
there's a small kitchen and the whole temple is because some sort of, well, battlefield or something like that. There's lots of flowers and lots of things there. Huh? Vegetables. Huge quantities. The vegetables are being cut. I guess they put them in buckets and things, ready for the food. Tons. They have tons. They have tons full of cut vegetables. So things are getting ready for cooking a big feast. Yeah. And so it's very nice that devotees just try and do it. And Ratha Yatra is that. In Ratha Yatra, the impossible has to become possible. That is Ratha Yatra. Because for Jagannath, it's big. It's always big. It's like big numbers of people, and it just becomes big. And then how we manage this, we don't know, but somehow or other we're doing. There's one devotee, Parsuram, and he is legendary. He's from the UK, and he just puts up Ratha Yatras. Now, in Amsterdam, the temple is even smaller at the moment than in Berlin. Yeah, and the kitchen is tiny. There's not even small. Tiny is smaller than small. So to cook a feast there is not possible. And it's sort of like they have a place now which is part of a neighborhood center, and there are other people in the same building, and we have to be a little bit civilized, right? You cannot just cook, for all these people. It's not possible. So what they do is this. There is Parsuram comes from England. He's from Food for Life. He just brings a van, and he has big stoves and big pots, and he drives out of town, finds himself a field, and just starts cooking in the field. No permission, nothing. Didn't speak to the farmer. It's just on the field cooking for 3,000 people. There's a huge pot, huge stove, and just has some cloth that covers it all a little bit in case it rains. And he just cooks. And he just brings, then when it's ready, puts it all in the van, and then he drives to the big festival site and comes with all this prasada. And he's been doing it now for a number of years, and it's amazing. I mean, inconceivable how it is possible. Again, but he does it. Of course, there are many inconceivable Parashuram stories because he is extraordinary. But he has a spirit which that nothing is impossible, and that somehow or other we can do. Well, that spirit fits with Ratha Yatra. Ratha Yatra is meant to be a festival where we are trying to go beyond our limits and do something extraordinary for Krishna. And the whole arrangement is that. And that is Jagannath. Jagannath is a form of Krishna who makes us go through all our limits and do the extraordinary. Just do the extraordinary. And somehow or other, it always, Ratha Yatra brings that out. Do the extraordinary. So we are happy to to be there for a Rath Yatra in Berlin and celebrate that with the devotees. What can we do? Our spiritual life must carry on. Yeah? We cannot lock down our spiritual life. Of course, the government may see our activity as a risk activity, and therefore the masks and so on. But we see it that we are actually alleviating the situation, because when the Supreme Lord is personally going through the streets get purified. The streets, the load of karma hanging over people will be diminished. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada pointed out, in traditional India, kirtan used to be seen as the solution for plagues, as the solution for epidemics. So believe it or not, but we see it like that. So that is to happen tomorrow. I am happy to partake in such activities. A year ago, I was a little more careful. I was sort of looking at the situation. I was thinking, well, what's going on here? Let me first try to understand a little bit of what is happening. So I was a bit more careful. But after all this lockdown and this and that, I felt that no, I cannot just be locked down. I must follow in the footsteps of Prahlada and have a bit of that trust. Right? I must have some trust in Krishna. Otherwise, what's the point of my faith if I cannot have any trust? Okay, it doesn't mean that we are not taking precautions. We do, and we should. Right? But at the same time, even if you hide in a bunker under the ground, you still have to breathe. Some air will come in your bunker. Even if you have enough food in there to last you for 5 years, even if you have the best air filters in the world, even then, you might still get it. It's like that. So material arrangements are not really adequate. Although, some precautions may be suitable and wise. And everyone for himself can figure out how far they want to go with that. But whatever may be, spiritual life has to go on. That is for sure. We have to carry on, and we have to put some faith in Krishna. And that ultimately Krishna is determining the destiny of our life, and nothing else, and nobody else. I hear all kinds of things, like from both sides. I hear people who tell me I have to take all the precautions. Then I hear people, don't listen to this. The virus doesn't exist. There is no virus. It's just the waves of 5G. I hear all these things. And what am I supposed to do with that? I don't want to go there. I don't want to go into conspiracy theories. Some may say that's not theory, that is fact. Yeah, that's okay. It may or may not be. But these are just mundane things anyway. I stick to the facts of that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and that devotional service to Krishna is the only thing that is really going to benedict us. So that's where I will put my energy. That's where I will put my faith there. And I want to put my faith there with Krishna and with Krishna consciousness and not with anything else. Doesn't mean I walk blindly across the street. I do look left and right. And, in other words, I do take intelligent material precaution, but then, inshallah, then whatever Allah desires, right? What can I do? The will of Allah will happen. Yes, it is like that. There's nothing more that can be done. And isn't that really the true secret of life? That the will of Allah is happening, and there's nothing we can do about it. Don't worry, I have not become a Muslim, but I'm also not going to be limited by by distinguishing between religions. I can see beyond the boundaries of religions, and I can see the Supreme Lord, and that people are connecting with Him in these ways. Okay, it's 8 o'clock. It's a good time, and I see a hand has appeared on the screen. Oh, lots of hands now. Okay, Devaki Nandan. You are muted. Yes.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All great Shri Prabhupada. Maharaj, my question is, sometimes while doing devotional service, we sometimes we expect something in return. So what should we do in these moments when sometimes when we don't get it, we feel frustrated? So what should we do?
Yeah, okay. We pray to Krishna and we want a certain result. And if it doesn't work, then we feel frustrated. What to do? I think that that we should really learn that we cannot control everything. Right? We can, as human beings, we have some things we can control, but it's limited, and really many things, the bigger things, are out of our control, and over time we have to learn to accept that. So yeah, there's no point in asking for things that are out of control. Someone says, how do I raise my hand? Can I just say that? At the bottom of your screen, yeah, you see some, you can click, and you can raise your hand. So Devakinandan, if we pray to Krishna for all kinds of results, that means we want to, we use Krishna to use his power to get the things under control that are not in our power. Yeah, but that should not be. We should not do that. We should rather offer service to Krishna. Yeah, we just offer service to Krishna and then leave it up to Krishna. Leave it up to Krishna. What will come out? It's like if I have no money and I pray to Krishna, oh Krishna, I'm in big trouble, please send me some money. You think Krishna doesn't know that I don't have money? He already knows it. He doesn't need me to kind of ring the bell and say a big prayer. No, he knows. And if it's due to me, he'll send me some. If it's not due to me, then what's the point? So yeah, no, we should not pray for all kinds of benefit. we should just render service. Hare Krishna.
I opened your eyes too. I set up the machine, rigged the lights, and even came up with you can get a thing to do.
Hare
That would
Krishna.
have been even better.
No. Is someone? Yeah. Okay. Gopali, you are also muted, but I don't know if you can unmute yourself or if the moderator has to do it. Yeah.
Now, can you hear me? Hare
Yeah.
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I would like to ask, you were talking about this Prita Mataji in Australia, and like I was thinking, like sometimes like some devotees, they have to go through like a really big deal of like lot of suffering, and that like if it's too much like for one to bear, it may kind of lead to like some bitterness inside, or maybe like anger towards Krishna and like that. So like how to deal with something like that, or like if something like that is it's like growing in someone, what he can do to like properly handle the situation in Krishna conscious way.
I think that when we go through a lot and it has been very painful and too much, and we start to develop some resentment towards Krishna, that happens. But then I think we have to not harbor that, not keep that in our heart all by ourselves. I think we have to start sharing that with other devotees and digest this with others. Yeah, we have to find some other Vaishnavas that we can open our heart to, and we have to start talking about this to get over it. I think if we keep it ourselves in our hearts, such kind of bitterness, I think then our faith will become damaged. No, it takes quite something to embrace, difficulties, right? But yes, to become angry with Krishna or bitter towards Krishna, no, we should not do. We need to really see that for many, many lives, we have been involved in many, many things. And who knows how deep are our impurities, how much cruelty is really within us. It may be covered by some nice little layer of good behavior. How much envy is still living within us? How much hate is there? How much anger is there? How much lust? How much are we really not caring about the well-being of others and just using them as lust objects for our pleasure? Yeah. So all these kind of things are we have to overcome them, and so Krishna sends us these difficulties for our purification, and that we have to somehow or other digest and accept. That Krishna will limit us, and for our purification, all right, we have to accept it as such, and we may need the help of others to accept it. Yeah, we cannot just look at it from our little life now. How can this happen in my life? I mean, so much suffering. Then we have to see it runs over many lives, and we have very, very deep tendencies from many, many lives, and so the reactions are that we are facing are purifying us from this, and that we have to kind of accept. But if we cannot, then in the association of devotees, we can at least share with them and accept.
Thank you.
Australia. What time is it now?
Krishna, it's 4 in the morning.
4 in the morning.
But
It's tomorrow, right?
tomorrow, yeah. I'm in the talking.
You
from
are
the
already.
future.
You're in tomorrow. We're stuck in yesterday. It's Friday, right?
It's Saturday morning, yeah.
Saturday morning. It's very strange. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me, what can I do for you?
I was just the question came up. I was just wondering, what does it mean to take responsibility for one's spiritual life? Because it sort of sounds like the same of what Hiranyakashipu was speaking to Prahlad about gaining power and taking what's yours. So, is there something we can claim that's ours in spiritual life?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, obviously we have to act according to our capacity. And we have been given facilities, right? We have a body, we have been given an education, we have been given many things. And so we have to use what we received. Right? Not we ignore that, oh, I can't do anything. No. Whatever has been given to us, we use that to the best of our ability. And that we are responsible for, and that's what it means to take responsibility. And we connect all those things with Krishna. Prahlad was a 5-year-old boy, so he had less facility than we have, in a sense. He was a 5-year-old in a world of adults. What was his power? Right? There was absolutely, there was nothing he could do. Totally nothing. Yeah. So he very much just, when you come to the point where materially you have no power to do anything, then you just turn 100% to Krishna, for protection. But if we can do something ourselves within our power, yes, then we do. And then but we know the end result still depends on Krishna. Yeah. That's there. But definitely if some disaster is there, well, try and go to a safe place, if you can. Yeah. But if that's no longer possible, then okay, Krishna, I'll go.
I was just wondering that I've heard this term, and some people talk about it. I catch myself talking about it. It's taking responsibility for one's spiritual life. I can understand that. We are given things, and we have to use it for Krishna. But that one statement, what does it actually mean?
We have been given transcendental knowledge, and now we have to take responsibility to apply that knowledge. You see, and there's a lot of details within that knowledge about what to do and how to do it, and what consciousness we should strive for. So that's what taking responsibility means, that we act according to the knowledge that we have received and try to realize it. And yes, that we have to do ourselves, very much so.
Thank you, Gumar. Can I ask another question?
Wait. Yes, go for it.
Okay, cool. I was just wondering how can.
Okay, just for those who are here, Harinamananda is traveling around in a van, and he's always every day he goes out to sing on the street, and it's life and soul, and that's quite something. Can enthuse many people, so he can ask many.
Just one more. So, um, I was just wondering, what's the difference between having spiritual feelings and material feelings when you're talking about dealing with happiness of this world and the happiness we derive from devotional service? How do we know that's not a material feeling?
Yeah, well, spiritual feelings are related to Krishna, but there's not only the distinction of spiritual feelings and material feelings, but there's also spiritual feelings with some material influence mixed into them. And that's also still there. So we bring some material things into spiritual life also, but connected all with Krishna, and it gets purified. Just like if we say fear, Prahlad was free from fear. Now, it's easier said than done to be free from fear, right? It's like I gave the example. Prahlad was thrown in a pit with snakes. Well, and he was fearless. If you throw me in a pit with snakes, I'll be scared to hell. I'll be very much afraid. One snake is already enough for me to be snake, right? So it can't imitate that. It's not possible. But at least take shelter of Krishna. Yes. So whatever material emotions, when we are afflicted by the material energy, yes, we turn to Krishna. Yes. We may get angry and it may get a bit out of control. It may not be proper. Turn to Krishna to take it away, and so on. So whatever feelings come that may have some material influence in them, just turn to Krishna. And if we have feelings that are not authorized or sanctioned or blessed by Krishna, then we have to ignore them. Yeah. But that's not only in Krishna consciousness, that is also in life, in the world, When you feel like putting something in your pocket, you cannot do unless you pay for it. So there's always some feelings have to be ignored. Whatever is blessed by Krishna. Okay. And now, I have 15 more minutes, so take some more questions. Okay, Tirumala. Yes.
Hi, Krishna Guru Maharaj. I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say that I really appreciated everything that you said today, especially when you spoke about Lord Nishingadev and about Prahlad Maharaj, because like this week, I kept dreaming about Lord Nishingadev and Prahlad Maharaj for like a few nights consecutively, and then I started meditating on Prahlad Maharaj, and I was also thinking about how how fearless he is and how much of faith he has in the Lord. So yeah, I don't know, I just really appreciated today's class a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. So Tirumala is a very creative lady. She is a very expert artist. She's working for the BBT in South Africa, and with Vaisheshika Prabhu, who is the world is leading the world in distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, and she's making a lot of the campaign material that they are using today. She's very much part of the whole promotion. She's also a secretary to the GBC in South Africa. She's doing many things, and although she's just a skinny lady, she's like, not like He's like doing so many things that it's amazing how you do it all. I don't know.
One of the mercy of my spiritual master.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate it. Oh yeah, and she always has amazing dreams. I never have such dreams. And she always has these amazing dreams. She dreams the whole week about going to Shringadev and Prahlada. I never dream anything like that.
Thank you so much.
So I'm living in America, New Jersey.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, then with Pranam, Jai Sri Prabhupada.
Hare
All glories to you, Guru Maharaj. Yeah, I have one question, which is not related to today's topic. See, I was, listening to a couple of lecture, and I heard that, you cannot pluck Tulsima on the day of Ekadashi, but then someone told me you cannot pluck Tulsima on the,
Dear, Aram se.
sorry?
When you talk so fast, I cannot hear it properly. The sound is a little distorted. Something on Ekadasi, but I couldn't catch what was the issue.
Okay. So when can you pluck the Tulsima? On the day of Ekadashi or on the Dwadashi day?
No,
Or
say no.
when can you not, water the Tulsima?
No, we always water Tulsi on every day, but we are not plucking the leaves on the Dwadasi.
Dwadashi. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what if, I was not aware about it and I have plucked Tulsima on the Dwadashi day? What will happen to me?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will protect you because you are one of his followers, so you don't have to worry.
Thank you. Thank you. I have another question. When are you coming to USA? We are waiting.
Well, let me see what I can do. I'm trying to come by the end of September. Yeah.
Very well.
If nothing gets in between, you never know what's going on. But if things look like they look now, then it will be by the end of September. Yes.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you. We are waiting. We are just having the association of His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj at this point. He's here.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Jagadananda Prabhu, can you switch your video on and come on?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the class. I have a question that's not quite on today's topic.
Anyway,
it's on the Brihad Bhagavatamrita.
Okay.
And I had the good fortune of finding a good audio book of it, and I've been able to race through some of the chapters. And I got to the more penultimate chapter where Gopakumar is explaining the difference in rasas, in the modes of worship between Vaikuntha planet and Goloka planet. So, and how he explains the love of the gopis and the love of the Vrajvasis. It seems impossible, if I can say it, lightly. It actually doesn't. It doesn't, to me, sound attractive. It doesn't sound like something that I would like to be in. I would like to be in the mood of the gopis when they're in separation from Krishna. So I just wanted to, just some clarity on that, in that we are, the whole Bhagavatam is expressing the ultimate glory of this kind of love, of this kind of rasa. But if it seems unattainable, and if it seems painful, and if it seems so stressful, how do we aspire for that? How do we?
No, I don't think we should aspire for that, right now. That's not really, we just take note that there is something like that there are great pure devotees who are filled with love for Krishna, such deep love that even a moment when they are not with Krishna, that they feel separated from him, you know, and that they feel such separation. Then when they feel that separation, that immediately makes them remember Krishna so strongly, with so much feeling, that they feel the presence of Krishna very, very strong. So their separation is not like the separation of this world. They have this, their separation just awakens such strong remembrance of Krishna, and then they relish their love for Krishna even more. That's very, very, very difficult to understand, this mood. And we hear about it, but because we don't have such feelings, we can't actually understand it properly. Therefore, we just hear about it, that it exists, and that it in such great devotees. And meanwhile, we just focus on the here and now, on serving our spiritual master, and as good as we can. And then we leave it up to Krishna to decide where he will put us in the spiritual way. And for now, it's too difficult to actually understand the feelings of the gopis, because the gopis, they feel such deep love for Krishna. We can't even imagine what that is like. Then they feel such waves of happiness.
Oni cítia také vlny šťastia, my si to ani nevieme predstaviť. Ich odlúčenie v strede tohto šťastia a prináša ešte viac šťastia. A keď teda môžem ešte na to nadviazať krátko, ako chápeme? Pretože my sme v línii žiackej Rupa Gosvami a Šrila Prabhupádu a tam tieto identity sa identifikujú ako manžaris. Tak ako? Ja neviem, čo Šrila Prabhupád, ale aspoň Rupa Sanatan. Áno. Áno.
Yes,
so just in that light, how do you understand the manjaris?
How do we understand?
The mood of the manjaris.
The manjaris are the assistants of the immediate, the Astasakis, the immediate associates of Srimati Radharani. She has her very close confidence. The Astasaki, they are her expansions, and the manjaris are assisting. So that manjaris are always trying to serve Radharani, because the manjaris, they think that Radharani is the best devotee. She can please Krishna the most. Therefore, let us assist her, because then Krishna will be pleased more than when we try to serve Krishna directly. So they see that service to the greater devotee is more pleasing to Krishna than trying to serve Krishna directly. So they're trying to serve the greater devotee. And in the same way, we're trying to serve the Prabhupada, the greater devotee.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare. Okay, this is the last question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Satyarani.
So
where are you now?
Still at the temple. In yeah, we walk back at the temple and all that.
Back at the temple. That is good. Okay.
Yeah, the big DTs are coming back out tomorrow afternoon.
Tomorrow, that's something. So let me explain. This is Satyarani from Durban. In Durban, there was a situation where, due to riots, they had to close the temple, evacuate the temple, move the deities out of the temple, and tomorrow they're coming back. Wow.
So I wanted to ask a question related to the Bhagavatam, and I know that we've spoken about it before, but it's just it comes up quite regularly, and we in that section of Bhagavatam, the third canto, and so I wanted to ask, how is it that we should understand the position of women in a spiritual society, and how should we actually present that? Because sometimes like this, of course it takes a lot of maturity to understand you know the actual essence, and what the Bhagavatam is actually basically trying to raise us to a high level of consciousness. But at the same time, there's like some really heavy statements about women and gender and things like that. So it just how do we actually approach that in a mature way? Because oftentimes women become sort of, in a sense, they equated to pleasure objects, and then where's the advancement for the spiritual, where's their position then?
Yeah. Okay, I can't, just verbatim remember all those verses, like boom. Just I would have to look at the book to see what is really there. But in general, right, not immediately responding to the text because I don't have it in front of me. But in general, we can say that there are different levels where when we speak about society. When we speak about society in general, then in the Vedic culture, it was a traditional society. The ladies were meant to be married because the desire to have children is very strong, and they would be in family life, and then are meant to be faithful to one man. That is the Vedic model for society at large. In a devotee society, things are a little different. In a devotee society, ladies are dedicated to Krishna, and therefore ladies are to be seen as Vaishnavis, and they'll make spiritual advancement, and as they become more spiritually advanced, they'll also will be able to lead in spiritual life. Yeah. But we are mixed. We are partially conditioned by the material energy and partially on the spiritual path. So the issue is this, is that ladies, again, speaking in general terms, are maybe more inclined towards acting upon feelings. And it will be difficult to ignore feelings. Feelings mean a lot. And men are sometimes more described as more cold, more less emotional, and so according to the Vedic culture, therefore, in the beginning of spiritual life, when we don't have love for Krishna, and when then we follow spiritual principles based on regulations. It's called Vaidhi Bhakti. We're living a spiritual life based on regulations, rules, and standards that we follow. So there, it may be easier for one who is less emotional to remain fixed in these standards. And if one is more emotional, maybe more difficult. Therefore, at that stage, they give the leading role to the men. and the men act as gurus and teachers and so on. But when we get to the more advanced stage and all the feelings are now purified, feelings are divided. Some feelings are connected to material things, some feelings are connected to Krishna. When we become purified and all feelings are connected to Krishna, then it's those who have feelings, then they are leading, then they are the greatest devotees. Yes. And in that way, the gopis are the ones who have the deepest feelings for Krishna, and they are the greatest devotees. But in the conditioned state, when we still have feelings that are directed towards material things, then we have to deal with these feelings with a system of rules and regulations. At that stage, they put the man in charge to make sure we remain fixed and that we say no to those feelings. That's Vedic culture. That is also spiritual culture. But as the ladies get more and more advanced, more and more freedom is there. I don't think that in any way it is appropriate amongst Vaishnavas to look at females as lust objects and so on. On the mundane level, okay, this can be, such things do exist, but there are also men who are very low and animalistic and so on, and just controlled by lust. So on a lower level, when people are controlled by lust, then that's another matter. Yeah. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the world. Please, your turn.
Yeah, I mean, I get the context of what you're explaining and everything. And of course, it's the society living in, and all of those things are also factors as well. But it's just that, like, when you repeatedly come across certain themes within the Bhagavatam, I mean, although, we're trying to detach from, a certain identity, but at the same time, it's just the position of women. It just seems so condemning, that they're the downfall, that the source of entanglement, and then what is the presentation within the Bhagavatam other than marriage for their spiritual upliftment? It's just, it doesn't.
Great devotees. There's Kunti Devi, who is acting as a teacher, and who is fully devoted to Krishna. There are others who are very devoted, devotee, and so on. So there are great women also in the Bhagavatam. So I think, again, I don't think that that women are the cause of downfall, that is the only message of the Bhagavatam. I don't think so. I think
today's verse was hectic.
But that's what I'm saying. You're but I don't know the verses now like that you're talking.
Yeah,
so you can send me in the letter also. You can send me a list of verses. Look at them and comment in more detail. But again, you have to put it into the right context. You have to put it in the proper context. So you are graced by mercy, you are a devotee, you are, there are all kinds of ladies in the world. There are ladies who are graced by the mode of goodness. They have knowledge. How can we say that such ladies are just the cause of downfall? My mother was very nice. She was she was not a devotee, but she was, and she did make mistakes in her life. But still, if I am a devotee, it's certainly because of her, because she instilled a lot of good values in me. So I cannot just look at that. Yeah, Rukmini is trying to post a thing on this stream.
Yeah, it
But I'm 7 minutes over. And, you know, as I say, I'm willing to take it up one time. And if you want, I'm willing on another stream, the next one, you can send me the section of the Bhagavatam before, and I can speak on this topic for you. But I cannot now, as I'm already over time, do like a point for point on a chapter that you are studying, and that brings up all kinds of questions. But if you send it to me, I can take it up next week. No problem. I mean, I'm ready to deal with it, but send me the verses first, and then I'll deal with more detail. For now, general principles that we look at. Okay, we look at ladies, look at men. When people are in the mode of passion and ignorance, then their activities are going to cause lots of suffering, both for the men and the women. Okay? Then the women become lust objects and may also enjoy that, and the men become controlled by such women and are hunting after such women, passion and ignorance. That's becomes an animalistic society. When you come to the mode of goodness, then men and women are having relationships where they are growing together. Okay? When you come to the mode of, when you come to transcendence, then everyone is engaged in devotional service. So then we mutually respect each other. And I'm not sure if these verses are speaking about devotees, or if they speak about men and women in the lower modes of nature. I'd have to look at them.
Thank you.
For today, it's like this, and you can send me more if you want. Okay?
Oh.
You and Rukmini can send me what I have to look at, and I'll discuss detail next week. No problem. Good. Okay. Have a good evening and a wonderful celebration that the deities are coming back tomorrow. That's very good news. And may everything go well for all of you in Durban. Okay. Hare Krishna. So, dear devotees, I thank you for being with us. And yeah, I got a hot potato at the last moment, so I had no time to fully deal with it. I have to end, and we'll be back with you
You hot potato.
next week. Hare Krishna.